Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for hopping on today. Hi. I'm excited to share with you guys. Megan and I are going to share a little bit about adding to your funnel. So I did that poll, I think it was last week, that was like things you'd like help with. And so that today we're going to talk about filling up your funnel. She's going to do specifically Instagram because that's like new territory for me. And I'm going to talk about Facebook. And then we're going to each share the phase one part of your challenge, your power hour, how we track it, because we're different and we're all different. So full disclaimer, do not throw away the way you track today and start something new. Use what we do and then make a small tweak that will help you if you're stuck. Or what I find usually is the case is not that we need a new tracking system. We just need to do our power hour. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like, I need a new system. No, I just need to do my power hour. Because if you do your power hour consistently, 5 days a week, 30 minutes to an hour, you will find the kinks and naturally be able to work them out. But sometimes it helps to at least see how other people do it, because you might be like, oh, I could tweak that with the bat I have. So if you need, there's someone flying a helicopter under me. If you need help finding a power hour tracking sheet, like look in the 5-day coach training unit. It has all the sheets, and then there's the Google Drive that has all of the business activity tracker versions that are out there. And then talk to your coach and she can help you, or I'm happy to help too. But that's kind of the flow of today. Before we do that though, the quick announcement, the Team Courage is offering this coaching sneak peek, and I shared it in the team page. The group is open. We're all welcome to invite to it. It is a coaching sneak peek group, but it's actually going to all be done Sunday evening at 8:30 p.m. live. So it's going to be like 6-minute-ish videos where people pop on one after the other and share their stories, but also talk a little bit about objections, but weaving it into their story and their journey. So instead of having a challenger Zoom Sunday night, I would like us to invite to this. Now, I think my plan is I'm going to put the short video that we have, the YouTube one about just our community that was made by Team Courage, in the challenge groups, and say, like, we have a really, like this Sunday evening, we're not going to be having a team call because our team is hosting something. Check with your coach about the details. Because you're all invited, but we want to make sure we kind of talk to you guys one-on-one about it rather than a big event or something. And then I'll say, to get kind of a feel about what it is, here's a great video that captures the heart of our team or something like that. So you can use that video as a talking point. Like I sent one out to a challenger yesterday and just said, hey girl, like I know you've been struggling, and because she has, and I said, and I know we've talked a lot about community and how important it is. And so I wanted to invite you to this coach sneak peek on Sunday night, because I think it would benefit you to be a part of the group, to get inspired and surrounded and hear the stories of these women who have overcome a lot, like I know you can. And she's like, sure. You know, so just phrasing it in ways that are going to serve them. Like I said today I put an example of an invite I sent out. If you go to invite somebody to something and you don't know enough about them to personalize the invite, then that's your like, oh, I should not invite them yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like if you want to invite someone and you think of their avatar and you can't tell me anything about their family life or who they are or where they live, that's how I check myself. And I'm like, no, I need to go back and get to know them better. So that might help you too if you ever feel kind of like, well, how do I know? Well, if you know enough to say why you would love them to be a part of it and how it could help them, then it's time, you know? So that is on Sunday night. And Sarah shared a great recruiting tip post that Summer put together that has like so much goodness in it about how to talk to people, what questions to ask, how to form with them. So definitely, I'm going to save that post in the unit that has third-party tools, because I think it'll be just good for us to have. So, so I just wanted to kind of put that stuff out there for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and kick us off, and then Megan, or is it good for you to go first? Is Amelia happy? Ish? No. Okay. I'll go first. No worries. We might have Play-Doh come in here in a minute. And not Play-Doh, Play-Doh. They're building frogs. So filling your funnel is important. And one of the things that Summer had posted as a challenge, there was a video she put together in Team Courage, 2 videos actually, they were 30 minutes each and very good, long but good. So I feel like worth listening to like when you're cooking or working out or something like that. But she talked about this sheet, Megan shared it, of 100 conversations. What if we started 100 new conversations a month? So what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean it's not adding 100 new friends, although we do need to be adding new people. It's starting 100 new conversations. What that means to me is it could be someone that I haven't talked to in 3 months that I'm reaching back out to, or someone I want to talk to. If I talked to them last month, I wouldn't count it as new, because I feel like we kind of work in 3-month chunks. Like your first reach out to someone and then it's like building. Your second reach out, next month of reaching out and forming with them is, for me, is usually inviting them to something. And then by the 3rd month, usually they've committed to something. So when I start a conversation, I kind of have 90 days in my mind of building that relationship. Does it happen faster than that? Sure. So sometimes. Does it happen slower than that? Yes. But so my point is, when I start counting as new, it needs to be someone I haven't talked to in at least 3 months. So when you're going to build these conversations, what I love about this sheet is, I was telling Courtney, I've been working on adding the highlighted names or Instagram, because I'm not big into understanding Instagram yet. So my goal now is 5 new conversations on Facebook a day, 5 messages on Instagram a day. And I've been basing that off of my stories. And I'll let Megan talk more about that. For Facebook, what I do is once a week, I go to a post that got a lot of engagement. I write, usually if it's a transformation post or a post that I shared, something that can start a conversation about healthy eating. Yesterday I posted about being comfortable in my bathing suit. So that's going to be my love bomb list that I'm making for next week. The one from this week is from a transformation post I shared a week ago. I had a post I talked about like loving on your kids being important and not missing on those moments, but also not like being able to dream, like things that are breadcrumbing what we do or our journey. I will write those names on a list, and that's where I start my funnel. Those names are like the top of your funnel. And then the conversation is moving them down to the next part of your funnel, and then getting to know them a little bit. Once you get to know them a little bit and you found a need, the next level to me is giving something of value to them, which I would call like the freemium-ish phase, whether that is putting them in a clean week or running your own free group. Like Veronica ran this awesome group on like hiking and stuff, like finding your niche. I run Bible studies from time to time, but a freemium where you're building more value, getting to know them better. Then the bottom of the funnel is, inviting them to something. So once they've moved through these phases of the funnel, the key is whoever is up at the top in July, I want them to drop down to like level 2 or 3 by the end of July. Because in August, I'm going to pour more names in the top. If we don't keep pouring names in the top of the funnel, it'll dry up. The other problem, though, is if the people that you talked to last month, you count as new conversations every month, you're going to clog your funnel because you're recycling the same people. The recycling phase of the funnel is like stage 2, where you're just getting to know them. If you need to keep recycling that until you're able to offer them a freemium, that's kind of where people can stay recycled, but you keep adding new, because some will continue to filter down as you're building the relationships with people. So ways to manage this, because you do not need to write down every single name and think, oh my gosh, if I don't write these down, like I don't know what I'm going to do. This is where people get tripped up, because they end up with 1.5 million sheets of paper. I'm included with one as someone who's done this. I would simply I think every month my plan is to print 1 or 2 of these off. The purpose of this sheet is not for me to remember every single person. The purpose of this sheet is to hold myself accountable that I'm starting enough new conversations. once a person responds to me and we start talking, I'm going to highlight them on this sheet. And that's when I want to make sure I'm scheduling follow-ups because they're talking back. Does that make sense? And then the next, so like what I would do is say you have a piece of paper and you send out 5 conversations on Monday, then the next Monday, let those be your 5 follow-ups. But as far as ones that you're writing down and taking notes and tracking and making sure you've scheduled it, the people that respond to you are going to be more naturally the ones that you're going to want to spend more time tracking notes on. A lot of times, like what I'll do to catch, it's a couple of things that kind of, it's going to be a little messy like that. I think there's no perfect way. I mean, when I used a program called Teamzy, what was nice about Teamzy was, yeah, I had all these people and I could schedule these follow-ups. But if I scheduled a follow-up for every person I reached out to, literally some days I'd end up having 100 follow-ups, like, because not that I reached out 100 people in a day, but it piles up. So what I try to do is have the name go out, the conversation, the people who respond to me, I'll kind of flip a couple days ahead because I print one business tracker a day for each day and kind of write them down. So if I had a calendar, imagine I'm on a Monday and I'd write down on Thursday, oh, I got to follow back up with her because she messaged me back. And then everyone else goes on a Love Bomb interest list on Facebook. So that way I message them. They might not message me back, but in the afternoon, every day I spend 10 minutes on my friends' Love Bomb list and I go through their news feed and I kind of comment and like on them. And if something pops up, I'll message them again from that. And I let it kind of organically happen instead of stressing about forcing a conversation, because some people don't check Messenger. And if you're literally following up with that person every 3 days because you message them and that's what you're supposed to do, they're going to check Messenger one day and have like 150 messages from you. So people that do that, though, I don't drop them. I just keep on their Facebook page because sometimes that conversation comes from that. So that's how I keep my funnel going. And I'm going to be honest, in June, my funnel dried up because I was recycling the conversations because I wasn't writing them down like this to see, and I wasn't printing a bat for each day, or you can print a business activity tracker for the week, or you could use recipe cards. And because I wasn't doing that, I was staying comfortable. Well, when you don't have new people in your funnel, you have less people to invite. And that's when you start to feel icky because you feel like you're asking the same people over and over and over again. So I have found that, whether it's 100 new conversations a month, 100 new conversations every 2 weeks, 50 conversations, like you decide what's comfortable for you. It will naturally flow, but you have to like track that you're actually starting them by writing them down and pull them from the people who are liking your posts, because that's who's the most engaged. And I'll talk, when we do the power hour stuff, I'll talk a little bit about like, what if it's the same people over and over, I need new people, because I have an answer for that too. But I'm going to let Megan talk about Instagram with the funnel.
I love what you said about the conversation sheet, because truth be told, I haven't printed it out yet or used it, but I'm just brainstorming in all the ways I could use it, like writing down all the names of people I start conversation with, highlighting people that I'm in conversation with something related to fitness, and then highlighting them or circling them if it's gone to the next level, and then putting them on a new sheet. It's just all up here right now. But anyway, on Instagram, I start new conversations mostly by looking at people's stories. So I'll just start with finds. So for my finds, I usually search hashtags or friends of friends. And if you're not really comfortable with hashtags, or you have if you have difficulty thinking of creative enough hashtags where it's not just all Beachbody people that you're finding, I will go to friends of friends, just like Facebook, and do Chalene Johnson's 531 method, which is liking 5 pictures, commenting with meaningful comments, not like emojis or like cool, like you know, you get on your own stuff that's like spam. Like I'll ask questions like, where'd you get that cute sweater? How old is your kid? That salad looks amazing. I want the recipe, you know, whatever. And then friending them is can you be patient? Friending them is the last thing that you do, or following them. So that's how I do my finds. On Instagram, I have found that because a follow is not the same thing as a friend request, if they have a public account, you can follow them without them ever having to follow you back to make a connection. But if I follow them, I put them on my Go for No sheet, and in the parentheses, I write Instagram so that I know where they're from. Otherwise, your Facebook and your Instagram will get lost, and you're like, I don't know why I'm not finding this person on Facebook. It's because they're on Instagram. Amelia, I'm sorry, guys. Do you want mommy's phone?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was I saying? Finds. Oh, I'll do more finds on Instagram, because when you follow someone, you can still love on them, even if they don't accept your friend request or follow request or whatever you want to call it, and still add value. And then eventually I have found that they follow back. So that's one thing that I do. For connects, like I said, I do through my stories a lot. I don't spend all day on, well, sometimes I spend all day on stories. I try not to spend all day on stories. But the easiest thing to do is go through stories maybe once or twice a day and send people a message. Do you want to get down?
Yeah.
Okay. Send people a message, again, related to their stories, asking a question, so I try to something coach related every day. And then the people that watch the stories, I make a list in my planner. At the beginning of every week, there's like a notes section in my Blessed Is She planner, and I write down all the names of people that have consistently been watching my stories. And then I send them a message, usually by the end of the week, like, thanks for supporting me by watching my stories. I really appreciate you. How are you doing in your own fitness journey? If it's like mostly fitness stories that they've been watching, or, you know, just a question. I usually try to end everything with a question so that starts a conversation. So that's how I find people on Instagram. And I find that people respond well to when I ask them about when they watch my stories. I know some people's concern is that that's kind of weird. But I think if they're watching your stories, or if they're liking, or if they're commenting, you have every right to start a conversation with them. Because, I mean, I know I watched Jill for like a whole year and was like, she posts a lot of pictures of herself smiling and she looks really happy, but I never liked any of her pictures. So that's what I do for the top part of my funnel. And as far as invites go, the people that I connect with, like, have you started your fitness journey, or how are you doing on your own goals, etc. The ones that respond, depending on how well I know them, I kind of count that as an invite, because that's like where the conversation is going. And then sometimes I don't, but usually, like Kelly said, I move them down to like the third tier of your funnel, and invite them to something, whether it's a clean week, whether it's offering them something that's, you know, free or beneficial for them, and then move on from there to like the 30-day challenge groups. And I can't remember if there was anything else I was going to say. Very distracted. But there's something else.
Oh, Rebecca has a question.
Oh, okay. I'm going to raise my hand. Okay, so let me make sure I'm getting this right. So the 531 was you're liking or loving on 5 images?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, not to be stupid, I'm just going to ask the question. So different people, 5 different people.
So one person, I go to their profile and I like on 5 different images, comment on 3, Yeah, this is all for one person.
Good. No. Okay.
So I go to Rebecca's profile and I like 5 of your images, and then I comment on 3 of them.
Okay.
And then I follow you. That's the one.
Do you do it all at once?
Yes.
Okay. And then step 2 for you, so that's like first part of funnel. Then step 2 was the message that you send, like, hey, thanks for watching my stories this week, or blah, 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 that type of thing. And then step 3 is the actual invite.
And then what?
Then step 3 would be like the bottom would be the actual invite, or is that step 2?
Sometimes it's like step 2.5, step 3.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Depending on who it is and if I know them well. Really, really cold people, I tend to like love bomb them a lot more. And it's easier if they're consistently doing stories. But because I have the list in my planner, I sometimes go in and like type their name and then love bomb on more posts if they don't really do stories.
Okay.
So that way they're not getting lost in my funnel. But yeah.
So how much time for people that you like find that are kind of new do you usually spend on loving on them, following them, and then like to the message stage? Like, do you kind of, if they've been commenting back or liking you quite a bit, do you just kind of go ahead and message them, or do you?
Again, that kind of depends on the stories. So if they do stories, I find that it's easier to send messages because it's more like a day-to-day interaction. Whereas if they're not on stories, you kind of are doing it maybe once a week, checking in, or every couple of weeks, because they're not as active as, like we are on social media. So if they're on stories and I'm, like, oh my gosh, your daughter's so cute, how old is she? And then the next story, they're talking about their vacation, like, oh, where did you go? And then eventually I'll send like that connection message, like, like, how are you doing in your fitness or whatever, or thanks for watching my stories too, like, something to relate to that. So with the stories, usually it takes me a good month of just like connecting with them with like other things. Sometimes a little bit longer. It just depends on how you feel. Like, it's all how you feel, how genuine you feel when you're sending it. But there's really no hard line.
So is it safe to say that like that step 2, you're messaging them, is really connecting with them on whatever level you're connecting with, whether it be family, whether it be fitness, and then you build from there. And then when they're ready to be funneled, to be invited into something we have to offer, that's when they drop down, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And I can say that so far, I think that the people that I have invited to stuff from Instagram since I've been doing this, which has only been like a couple months, nobody has committed to anything unless I knew them or like had mutual friends with them. And the people that were cold, I usually try to just connect with them more. So I ask if they have a Facebook and if we can connect on there. And I ask the couple of people that I usually give them something free. Like if they want a recipe, I'm like, oh, I noticed that you're trying to eat a lot of vegetables too. Like, here's my cauliflower pizza crust recipe. Like, I just still try to like keep up the connection, because when it's like a cold person, I know for a fact that they're getting a million messages in their inbox, like, insert MLM here, join my tribe kind of thing. So I know that if I didn't know someone, I'd be like, no thanks. And I think that what makes this different is that we keep the conversations going and we keep showing up. So so far I have like made pretty good relationships, which is like, surprising for me because I don't really like the small talk as much. But I'm learning to like grow in that. And it's been really fun, like getting to know these people. So if nothing else yet, that's been a plus. So
do you keep a love bomb list of the people from Instagram? So like if I have a love bomb interest list on Facebook, I have like a go for no sheet or whatever.
So what so if you go on Instagram, on the little paper airplane at the top right hand corner, that's where your messages are. There's a little like 3 toggle thing on like the search bar, and that's where your unread messages and then it says inbox and then starred. I always star those people. And so what I do is I go to that message thing and I click starred, and then I'll just click the people and look on them in there. So I don't have a physical list because I tend to make a million lists and then they're in the garbage.
But I like that. I wish that you could do that. You could do that on Facebook on your like pages, which you can't do it with a regular messenger.
Oh, really?
Because I like that you could. Sorry, I just heard a baby.
Yeah. So if you do that, that's like an easy way. Because I mean, I message. Maybe I'll do like you said, like 5 finds or something like that on Instagram, depending on how long it takes me. I usually just set an alarm. Sometimes it's 2. I at least get 2. Sometimes it's 5. Sometimes it's 10. What's wrong? I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, so I message a lot of people like through their stories and stuff like that, and some people don't really respond. Some people are just like, send like a heart emoji back or whatever. I don't really star those people. I star the people that I'm like, talking with.
To.
So.
Well, and I like that because you could star the people you message and then unstar them if they don't respond. And someone woke up the baby. We're gonna have like a toddler hangout or nap. Yeah, of course you did. Bring him here. I like it because. Oh, hey, buddy. The purpose of this whole thing is you want to like qualify whether a person wants this. So like a purpose of a funnel is not to keep everyone in the funnel, it's to get people out. If you look at it that way, then you don't get as like, I used to think it was like more like an aquarium where I was dumping everybody in and I had to keep everybody in and I was just fishing for someone. But it's not. It's a funnel. Like you pour people on top and you try to move people down. I would say, Jess, if you have people not having Facebook down the line, it might be good for us to look into you running your groups on the app then. Because that's what coaches that are using just Instagram, like Haley Sherwood's one of them. She runs her groups on the app. And because the app is a lot like Instagram and images, people do well with it when they're just on Instagram versus people who are on Facebook. Like the Facebook group's better because that's what they're used to. So that would be something that we could definitely look at.
Also, I would say, like, don't let that hold you back from inviting them to a Facebook group. Megan Kaufman didn't have Facebook before she was a coach, and I wanted to invite her to coaching, and I didn't because she didn't have Facebook. So thank God she reached out to me, because otherwise I don't know if I ever would have, because I was scared that she'd be like, I don't want to have Facebook. And you can always tell them that if they don't like Facebook because of all the newsfeed stuff, you can tell them about Facebook Eradicator too, that Kelly uses, and they could just go straight to our group.
Yeah, I have a couple challengers Eradicator, so that's
yeah.
Yeah. So I think so that's kind of find like people on both your funnel. For me, if you are on Facebook and you're trying to find people like add, a couple things that you could do that I was gonna share is you can go to friends of friends and friend requests. So if anybody has like 30 plus friends in common as me, and it's not 30 plus Beachbody coaches, I will friend request them, especially if they like went to my university or went to my high school, or they're from my hometown, or they're a female friend with my husband through ministry, a lot of like youth ministers, and I'll say, oh my gosh, I know, I'll message them, and that's a connection. And it's a true message when I'll say, I see we have a ton of people in common. Have we met before? Because I know you and my husband are friends and you do ministry here. And like, I was just wanted to reach out. Or for me, if it's moms with lots of kids, I reach out because I'm always looking for ways to connect with other moms and big families. So that's one way to find new people. Another way is when you run, like right now we're about to run another Clean Week. All the people who are in Clean Week from June, because we left the group open, I asked them, like, do you have a friend you want to invite to do it with you this time? And that's a way to meet a new connection. And when I have a person who refers a person and that person signs up, I always send a thank you gift, whether it's a little like $5 Starbucks card but I always, when someone sends a referral, like I don't tell them that in advance, but I'll thank them for doing that. And then another thing is we have friends on Facebook, and I think we could probably do this with Instagram too, where we don't even like haven't talked to them. We might have friended them and never. So for me, if I need connects, if I feel like the list I have from my Facebook post is the same 100 people, and I don't want to recycle them because I'm in August, say, I will start doing the ABC method that I learned from a coach, where I will go to my friends on Facebook and it has search, and I'll write AA, and all the people who have the last name with AA will pop up, and I will just message until I get to 5, and usually if it's someone that I look at their picture and I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to them in forever, I'll go to their Facebook page, I'll comment and see how things are going, if they've been active on Facebook, and that's where the message comes from. Like, oh my gosh, I saw you guys just went to the beach. What beach did you go to? I missed the beach so much. Like, we didn't get to go on vacation this summer. And like I sent that to someone today. What beach were you at? Like, that looks so cool. But that's a way, because even though you're not technically friending a new person, if you friended someone a year ago and never talked to them or it's been a long time, that's a connection. Add value to the people you already have, or like I said, if it's been 3 months, add value by inviting people back, like putting them back in the funnel because they kind of went out the bottom. So that's another way to kind of work the funnel. And so I wanted to just recommend that you guys do that. And so like for me, and we can kind of share this part, is when I go to do my power hour, I actually was talking to Courtney about this today, because my office hours have been spread out throughout my whole day because I'm like filling everything in the cracks of the day with summer being here. And I told him it feels too crazy like right now. And I said, and if I'm going to teach my coaches how to build a business and have solid hours and not invade their life, we need to like make some tweaks, because right now I feel like my life is being a little bit invaded because I'm not being good with my time. And so he said, do you have your power hour flow? And I was like, well, I have my bat. But he said, but you should probably write down your ritual of what your power hour is, just to revisit it, because maybe you got out of the habit. So I got a little note card out since we were talking today. And so, for me, having a phase 1 and a phase 2, and phase 1 is I pray. Like this today before I worked, I was getting a little nervous about having to connect. And so I just said, God, help me to connect with the right people that you want me to talk to today, and to add value to people and pop people in my mind and that I need to talk to. And then the first thing I do is the connects. 5 on Facebook, 5 on Instagram. Then I go to my Facebook list, like my love bomb interest list, and I love bomb a little bit because maybe there's someone I forgot about. And that's kind of how I get my mind going with the people who I've been talking to. Then I invite, and then I do my follow-ups, which follow-ups would be usually first the people I've planned to follow up, because like I said, I treat my bat like a planner. And so the people I invited today, I will write on Saturday's bat to follow up with them that day. You know what I'm saying? So I plan it, like I schedule it. So I'll follow up with them first, and then I make sure I've tracked everything. And then I'm in phase 1 is done. And if you've noticed that point, I still haven't checked in any groups. Then when that's done, if I have time in the same hour, I'll do phase 2, which is I will check in my challenge groups for 15 minutes, which is where I'm trying to get better, because what I felt like what's happening is in the cracks, I was doing the messages all day long and talking to people, but I wasn't being present in our challenge groups. And if we're not present in our groups, like everybody fades, you know what I mean? And I slip even in my own. So challenge group first, then I check in with my challengers during my phase 2, whether that's a day that I've scheduled to do private messages, or I have them on an interest list and I'll go love bomb them on their own page. 5 minutes, like not a ton of time, unless it's the day I'm actually scheduled to message them all. And then the last thing I do is check on my team pages. Our team page first, and then the Team Courage page, and then I check in this like 500 Club leadership group class. But that's like the flow of it. And so the bat that I use, I actually got this off of Etsy, and the reason I like it is because I set it up like a planner, but it has it where the top part up here, these are all phase 1, and then the orange is phase 2. And on the bottom, I have a little place to write down notes. And the reason I like this bat for me, it's because I print off 6 every week and I date them. And that way, like, everyone's from invites today, I can write on the person 3 days later. But guys, before I had this, I used to do this in a school planner. I would just buy a school planner from Walmart and just write all this stuff in the planner. But it helped me to have a place to move people forward and write their names. Instead of having a bat that was a checklist and a list, I use this, and then I make lists on the Go for No sheet that I work off of. Does that make sense? So I have like I have a list that's like love bomb, that I'm pulling my new conversations from. I have my invite to my free groups, and I have my invite to paid groups, and I have an invite list for coaching. So that way, when I go to do my bat, my lists are tucked behind it, and I can pull them out and kind of take notes next to the names. But I wanted to show y'all, like, the note cards is the same way. The only thing I think that matters when you're doing your power hours, because I think we get a lot of questions about this with their funnels getting stuck and what do I do and how do I do, is you need to have a way that you're scheduling to follow up with the people that matter, and that you're tracking the number of people you're talking to. Because otherwise you can't self-correct if you're not hitting your numbers. So if you have a goal of helping 1 customer a month, but you don't know how many new conversations you've started or how many invites you've sent out, we can't see, or who you've sent them to. And so that's why for me, this bat made sense. It was $5 for the PDF, and that's mine forever. But there are ones in the, Elizabeth has one, Lindsay has one that she shared in there. Like, there's a bunch in our Google Drive. So before you go, like, look and see what we have. And just find something so that you're tracking these stages of the funnel, because your funnel really is like kind of the purpose of your power hour is to move people down. But I felt like what helped me was kind of having this down and then putting it with like, what I love that Megan said is like assigning a time to each thing. I will spend 10 minutes connecting. At the end of 10 minutes, whatever I got. Because some days you might message people and you might invite somebody and you're like, I want to send out 5 invites today, but you get to invite number 2, they message you back and you're in a really good convo, so you don't get your other 3 out. It's okay. You had a really good conversation. Like, don't be so focused on that you don't, the quality of your conversation kind of goes to pot, if that makes sense. What I love is Megan, so she does hers all digitally. So she was going to talk a little bit about how she does it. And the key, like I'm saying today, is do something for 30 days. Really, I say 90, but do something for, I would say 90 days, unless the end of 30, you're literally like toe stuck. It's not working. But like, I don't change anything. I wait 3 months before I change anything, because I find that sometimes I want to change it because it'd be easier to try to find a new bat than to just make myself do what I'm not doing. And I'm just being honest, like, because I had to have that little like moment with myself last month. Like, what happened? And Courtney said, well, you got sidetracked with Summit and you got sidetracked with me being gone, and you look at your binder. I usually have 6 bats a week for the whole month, and I save them and I file them away so that I have all those names, so that, and to me it's kind of the show. And in June, I think I had 13 for the whole month that I had filled out. I was still doing power hours every day, but if I wasn't tracking it, I had no idea. So this month has been a lot of, I'm so sorry I never got back to you messages, because, and if I want my business to be a business, I have to treat it as such. But I also learned the value of like, I'm just self-correcting. I'm totally not, yeah, he's very good at tough love, Jess. I'm not bullying myself. It just happened. Like, it happens. You know what I mean? And it's okay. But what I've learned is when you fall off like that, this month, the fruit of June, July will not be, like, I'm feeling June's fruit. May was in June. June is this month. So July's work will be harvested more so in August and September. So be patient too. Don't think like it's not working, because it's going to take that consistency. But if you wouldn't mind sharing, because I know for some people, paper is not good. Like for me, I did digital for a while because some top coaches that are good friends of mine did. and it was a mess, the digital. Like, I don't know why. I do well with digital forms, but I still have to write stuff down on paper. So if you wouldn't mind sharing how you do it.
Yeah. So when I sit down to do my power hour, I have my planner, and then I have tabs open on my computer. So I have Facebook open. I have my Go for No Google Drive spreadsheet. I have the scripts open, like just the general ones that have been out forever from Team Courage. And then I have my BAT. Those are the 4 tabs that I usually have open. Sometimes I have more if I'm doing specific things with challengers and stuff, because I have like a separate one for that. And then I also, because I have still not organized this, I have my notes open on just like the Mac, the like notes app, because that's where all of my, like, I took the Team Courage scripts and I kind of personalized some of them. Yes. So what I do is on my Go for No spreadsheet, I have a column that is interest lists, which I usually do on paper, and then I transfer it to the Google or the spreadsheet. So it's just one long column of names for that month. And then the next column is invites. And it's gone through phases where I've had like a column for Clean Week, a column for 2B, and it's just one big invite list. And I have like next to it like 2B, 30-day challenge, Clean Week, blah, blah, blah. Because what I have been finding is that I'll start inviting them to 2B, or like I'll invite them and I'll be like, 2B is probably not a good fit. So I'll like switch it. Or if they're like, the 30-day sounds awesome, I can't afford it right now. You know, like all I have to do is change the note to invite to Clean Week instead. So that's what I have there. And then the next column is coach hopefuls. So like coach invites that I have sent. And then the next column is third-party tools. So if I sent somebody a message that was like, hey, do you mind watching this video? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And then those people usually get shuffled into like an invite after they watch the video and get back to me. So that's my big list. And then my BAT looks just like any other BAT. It has like my morning routine at the top. And then it has like 2 finds, 2 connects, 2 invites, 2 follow-ups, 2 Facebook posts. And then under that I have like checked into the team page, checked into challenge groups. If there's like a training, like when I had Mimi at the tree, I would have like a checkbox for that. And then it's like the whole month goes across. So like at the top, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 31. And I just color in the box every day that I do it. Yeah. I can't remember.
Like, if you listen to what Megan's saying, like her lists are the columns. That would be equivalent to like a Go for No sheet. What I love is as you make your lists, you're going to categorize them by what makes sense to you. So for her to have a third-party tool list, like you're going to, you know what I mean? Like that's how I have to have like a love bomb list off of my, like it's a part of the process of this. And I will
say like it's evolved. Like I used to just have one long crazy list, and that didn't work. And then I started the columns, and like my columns have changed. I've been doing this for a little bit over a year. I thought it wasn't going to stick. I thought I was going to do it for 90 days and switch back to paper because I was like, I love paper, but I did not. I would lose those papers and they'd be everywhere. And I'd be like, oh, my binder's in the other room. I don't want to get it. So this helps a lot if you're like me and you don't like having your binder, your planner, your book, your other thing. So like it's all just open. Go to Facebook, find a name, go back to the other tab, type it in. Yeah. That's as easy as it gets for me. But
I think it's important, like you said, like you just have to try it for long enough for it to be a habit before you decide, you know. But a lot of times why we get overwhelmed is we hear how someone else does it, but we're not doing a consistent enough one for ourselves. And like I said, like that was me last month. Like part of me wanted to be like, I should switch to Google Streak. And I'm like, why in the world would you do that? Like what you do works. You just didn't do it last month. You know what I mean? Like, but I wanted to jump ship and try something new because anyway. That's, maybe would you mind like sharing a link to like a blank, like duplicate one of your sheets and share it so people could see it, so that if they wanted to set it up, they would know.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool. I think, you know, I think the key of it is like, I think Les Brown said this in a video. I have to share this in our team page. I don't know if I did. It was a video I watched, a talk of his, and he said, people always say anything worth doing is worth doing well. And he rephrased it, anything worth doing is worth doing wrong enough until you get it right. And I think that's what we don't want to do it, and then unless we do it well. But he's like, you got to be messy. And so that's been my thing lately. Like, all right, I'm just going to be messy, you know? So, but I think that the biggest things I hear a lot of times, I don't have anybody to talk to. So I was hoping this would help you guys today. And then the second part of it is, well, I don't know how to do my power hour. So I hope this kind of helped with that too. As far as inviting to coaching, that was the other one. I'm going to have a call in the upcoming weeks on like how to use third-party tools and the coaching opportunity. And I think it'd be good to do it to follow up the sneak peek on Sunday, because we could even work through examples together. Do y'all have any questions? He's like passed out. I've bored him to death. Was that helpful? Yeah, if I didn't make anyone's head spin. I think this is really good. And I think like get in a good groove with like Facebook, if that's where you're at, before you try to do Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in a groove with Facebook, so I'm starting to branch out on Instagram. I'm just doing stories right now. But I'm going to start the 531. And there is a whole team call that Megan did together on stories and 531, and it's in the social media unit in the team page, as well as another one by Wes and Jordan McCorkle that's really good too. So if you have time, like I'm going to start, that's my PD right now as I'm learning more. But well, thank you guys for taking the time. I can't move now. He's like passed out. My computer's about to like die, so I'm going to have to, I'll get the recording up. If y'all think of any questions or need stuff clarified, just post it in the team page. And I'm excited about Sunday. So let's start inviting people to that sneak peek. I'm going back to invite anyone I've ever invited to coach back again. Like, just because I think you never know when's the right time, you know? All right, you guys. I need to pray. Let me do a quick prayer, but then it might die. So if it dies, it's okay. God knows we're all here. All right, let's pray real quick. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together. God, I'm so thankful for our team. I'm so thankful for the good things you're doing. I'm just grateful for this family here. We pray for Lindsay as she recovers with her beautiful little baby boy. We pray for all the mamas who are pregnant, all the mamas who are on our team with newborns. Lord, we pray for all the women on our team and men, that we can be lights, shining light for everyone. God, help us to speak to the people that you want us to talk to. Give us the courage to be a voice of truth and support to people who are stuck. And God, I just pray that you would bless our team with growth, our own growth, but also this just to bring more people into our family to further this message of just embracing this life of freedom and peace and living that joy in the journey. And we just thank you, Lord, and we pray for all of our challengers, all of our coaches, and all of our families, and we lift you up in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, you guys, have a good day.